Welcome back, guys, to the Beyond Condition podcast, the voice of bodybuilding. The dynamic duo are here, Romana and I.
Wait, wait.
We're both vibing because although obviously you're going to give some context to where you're at in off season, we actually are, in a good spot with food. And generally speaking, we're obviously not dieting right now, so we're going to be firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean, I've had 3 nights of fucked up sleep, but it'll be fine. I've
What?
just had 120 grams of jam, so I'm now buzzing off sugar. Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
have. I have 240 grams of jam a day. I think it's 240. I might
Well.
have snuck in an extra little bit because there was a lump of peach that I wasn't going to dismiss.
The thing is, that's a valuable lesson already. When I, in the 19-week diet, the first refeed I had, so I had my normal just whey and strawberries, and then I had one of those like Oats and Valley granola bar things because I was like, I need some carbs, so I'm gonna go training and put jam on it. Fucking hell. So I sat on the sofa and ate it, and because like you say, it's fast release carb. I mean, like I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. This
The
is
sugar as well. It's just like
yeah, yeah. And I
fucking
was like,
heartbeats out your chest.
it was wild. And then we had to pop to Sainsbury's before the gym because I wanted to have it before the gym, see how I looked with the fast release sugars in, etc. And I said to Matt, you're gonna have to go in Sainsbury's. I wound down the seat and I laid there just looking forward. Wild.
Yeah, yeah. It's Dan started having it as well. I get it. If you were to have that meal and go to sleep, I bet you'd be lying there hearing your pulse in your ears. It's that kind of like sugar rush carb hit. I don't know. It's almost like it makes my blood feel like toffee. So every pump of my heart is having to work harder and I can just feel it. And I also feel like I'm vibrating kind of almost with energy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's weird.
It
Yeah.
flips back to because, and this is again on topic with, when you don't prep and do the peak week, etc., for a number of years, like you automatically think, right, I'm going to remember what this feels like. I'm going to remember what this feels like. Every peak is different. Every, season is different. But it threw me back to the first time that carbs went in on a peak week, and you think that you're going to feel really good, but you're like, I feel weird.
I suppose that's something with the difference in categories
Mm.
because as I've gone through the categories, the amount of carbs that I remain on, and I mean, every prep is different. You know, the Olympia prep, we did have to go zero carb quite a lot. I don't do well zero carb. But last prep and the prep before that, there were no zero carb days. The more muscle I seem like you have, the less carbs you have to pull from because you still got to stay upright during all this process. So I do have that kind of baseline level. So it's probably not as much of a shock to the system,
Mm. Mm.
but I still have to be careful, especially last meal in peak week or even a refeed in prep. With if you've got carbs and high fats,
Yeah.
it will do the same thing to me in prep. But with prep, you've obviously got all the other things that will upregulate you anyway. So it's like this perfect storm of just lying there, vibrating, unable to sleep, but too fucked to do anything.
Yeah, yeah, it's a wild, like I remember really, really well my first peak when, because my coach put X amount of carbs and I could select them. I actually put this in the ebook because I did like some funny stories at the end, and I was like, it freaked me out because I didn't really know what to do with this, like, as you say, bikini girl first prep. I was on fuck all food, and then it was like, here's some macros, and suddenly I'm like, whoa, what do I do with? And I was like, well, what foods do I choose? And
Wash it all on a bag of donuts.
yeah, well, I was like, oh, I could be creative here because, of course, again, when you start out, there is the high likelihood that you're going to look at food porn, like all of these things. So I was like, oh, okay, so maybe I can include like some really cool things and be experimental and just make some like recipes as such in the peak week. But I soon realized very quickly, and this is why I put it in the ebook, that it's just literally ideally the easy foods that you can get in that are not going to upset your tummy and
Yeah.
it's, but the thing is, how do you know at this point? It's difficult.
I was thinking as you said that, the thought of a coach giving me macros in peak week would be one surefire way of creating unnecessary stress. For me personally,
No,
it
no,
might
no,
work for other people, but I'd just be like, no, sorry, I can't think. I need some direction here.
faith.
Because I don't think I would make poor choices,
Mm.
but I would be doubting the choices I make
Yeah, yeah,
just through where your head's at in that deficit. It's like I could have chosen, given macros, I could have chosen rice and oats, but I'd still be like, well, are they the most optimal? Or should I be doing this? Or should I be doing that? It's just too many variables. Just tell me what you want to what you want me to fucking eat.
well, yeah, absolutely. And I actually, it's really cool. Actually, we can talk about this because I didn't tell you, but I did a pod with him, and he coached me for like 8 years. Now, when I signed up with him, I was very much like the bro mode. So I'd made my own food plan. It was all like you say, oats, chicken, rice, da da da. And I acquired, and he got selected because it was like a team of coaches, and then they put you with who they
Yeah,
with you. So he was the
yeah,
prep coach, as it were, at the time. So when I signed up with him, he wouldn't give me a food plan, and I was like, "But I need a food plan. Like, what do you mean this flexible dieting thing? Like, what? I just want to be told what to do." And when we did the podcast together, he said that actually on reflection, and he mentioned that I was like, "Where's my food plan?" But he was like, on reflection, I feel like it did, and I'll take ownership for it. It did drive some of your food pathologies with food because I'd be tracking, I'd be fitting foods in, I'd be trying to
yeah.
work it out. So exactly what you said there. And actually, for me, a lesson in that was I felt actually, we speak about this, right? I felt quite seen because I was like, I don't feel like I sort of caused myself to have so much of these sort of, behaviors around food and stuff. But to have this open platform of here's some macros, I don't know what I'm doing, right? Like I'm just starting out.
Yeah.
So it did drive a lot in me on reflection that escalated over years and years and years and got worse and worse without me knowing.
I think my version of that was less so in prep because I was always given a food plan. But that also then was almost a bit of a fucker when it came to the opposite in off season, when you're still on a food plan and the food is the same as you were eating in prep and it's still being increased incrementally. But I challenge any bodybuilder to off season hard purely on clean foods. I tried when Dan and I met, I was trying because that was my plan. That's what I had to eat. And it's almost that detraining yourself to be added as adherent in off season because you do need to get creative. There's no way I flash back to 2022, 2021 off seasons. There was no way I would have that much jam in my plan guilt free. There's still that opposite pathology of food where it's like, well, that's bad. That's not good. That you shouldn't be eating that. Those sorts of things that we're indoctrinated into as we're growing up. And I don't know if that's worse for females than it is for males. I Thinking back to my childhood with my stepbrother, there was definitely less comments made about what he chose to not eat or eat versus me. It was always, oh, you're never going to eat all that. Oh, you shouldn't be having that. Oh, that's very, very sweet, isn't it? That sort of thing. Um, but now it's like knowing that if I'm going to progress and I'm going to grow, I can't eat 3,500 to 3,800 calories of rice and oats.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah. It is.
it's just not. I'm gonna war.
Yeah, yeah. I do believe from the years of doing the podcast in itself, because obviously that's my opportunity to speak to multiple athletes, that absolutely like there you'd be hard pushed, guys. And I know again, this is a sort of myth that we're led to believe that people are just literally chicken and rice all off season because it's absolutely not the case, in my opinion, from and guys, I've been doing this podcast for 4 years, right? I've spoken to a lot of athletes. But the thing is here, Mana, is that a lot of it's not posted on Instagram and we're led to believe certain things around the
Yep.
bodybuilding space. Again, this is what we learn, even we've spoken about this before, but the cliffhanger of people photoshopping check-in shots, right? Like even that is like to me that is bizarre. I can't be fucked for a start, but also what is the point? I don't
Yeah.
yeah. And
It's
you
like they're not going to pull out the Instagram saturation filter and put it across you when you're on stage. Like people will know. People will know it's a fucking filter. Just like if you're cropping your waist in,
Yeah.
like it's going to be written all over you when you come to step on stage.
And I feel, I don't know about you, but I've always had this sort of, I guess, connection or whatever. I've never thought about it till now, actually, thought about it. But I quite like putting the photos of me looking pretty rough on a check-in because it means I'm getting lean. I don't know about, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Oh yeah, I used to fuck around, do my hair, do my eyebrows, put some blusher on, that sort of shit. Now it's like, roll out of bed, fall into a bikini, and try and find somewhere at this time of year that's not going to cause some sort of frostbite whilst doing it.
Yeah.
Inside check-ins from now on. That was last week. Last week was not good. Couldn't frigging pose because it was just so cold.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, you have these, I guess, their preconceived idea of bodybuilding on Instagram or whatever it is, whatever we want to label it as, limiting beliefs or belief systems that you've got to show up as, someone else, as it were. And it's like, that's the reality is, and I actually had a client come to watch her first show with me, Vic, a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, it was so cool. She was like, this isn't glamorous, is it, this sport? And I was like, absolutely not. Because on the stage, we have this, oh, wow, everyone looks like that. Reality is, I mean, I was saying to Matt, I've just started sort of doing my makeup again and stuff for, just general day to day. I know you don't wear a lot of makeup, Mana, but I was like, I actually feel a bit better just putting a little bit of makeup on. But at the tail end of although it was only 4 weeks, as you know, I went in pretty hard. That last 2 weeks, I was like, I can't even be fucked to brush my hair. Like reality, you know, like
I,
it's
was, I get it. I get it. I mean, I'm sort of in a similar vein, but that's mainly because I live in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. I don't see anybody. So all I'm doing is putting makeup on to wash it off again at the end of the day. And I don't have time for it. But I was, I think it was Saturday. I was sat on the sofa and I was just playing with my hair and like just clump of hairs come out. Dan's recoiled in horror and he's like, my God, you're losing your hair. Are you like, I made a full on like little hair creature out of it. And it was trying to explain to him that no, I'm not losing my hair. It's where my hair's curly, I don't brush it. And he was like, what? You've not brushed your hair in like 10 days? Because that was the last time I washed it. I was like, no, because you can't with curls. Because otherwise I just turn into fucking cousin Ear. Or
yeah,
actually, Krusty the Clown's probably a better representation, but with less curl. It's not through lack of self-care. It's you can't brush curly hair when it's dry, and I can't be asked to wet it to just curl it to sit at my desk and work on a computer.
yeah. I
It's just
many years ago, I gave up washing my hair all the time. Like literally, it's once a week at best because I'm just like, I just yeah. You sweat at the gym and whatever.
sorry. I was just obviously trying to hold off a sneeze there, and some of my facial expressions could have been quite amusing. But yeah, it's I even back, I mean, I've not worn proper foundation. Shift work was what did it. When you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning or you're working a night shift, just got to the point where I couldn't be asked. And I went to like tinted moisturizer, but I haven't worn that for, God, about 10 years. But I remember when I did, and I'd train like after work or CrossFit after work or whatever. And it just felt horrible because whenever you're wiping your sweat, like I've got overplucked eyebrows, the joys of growing up in the 90s where having this single line of hair was the fashion. They do not grow back. Um, so I'm there like I'll wipe half my face and an eyebrow's gone. It's just like I can't be doing with this. It's just sweat.
This
Just
is just too
ditch
far
the
too.
makeup.
When you said earlier actually about comments sort of when you're growing up with food, etc., it actually
Yeah.
comes to my mind with parents in general and actually the post-show meal. Now, this lays relevance, I believe, on, obviously you experience different things post-show. We've spoken about it before where we prefer to just be with our set people, and generally speaking, that's not many people. But I remember, comments from my stepdad the first time he came to a post-show meal, and he was like what you said with growing up. He was like, "Are you going to eat all that? What, like, should you be having that? You've just done a prep. Like, you're a bodybuilder. Should you be eating a burger and all of this?" And I just said to him, "This is my post-show meal. Please don't comment on my food ever again. I'm not trying to be rude, but you're actually making me feel uncomfortable with sitting having something that I want. He's never mentioned my food again, but I just want to give that example because it could, depending on who you're speaking to, it could help if you just sort of try and
Well, I'm
it
actually going to
could.
use that
Yeah.
because I am going. I'm going for my second wedding dress trying on Sunday, and my mum is coming up. Sorry, I'm also watching Dan's dad try and get the Labrador in across the yard with not very much success. That was my marginal distraction. Yeah, so we're going for a meal afterwards. I'm already a little bit because my mum, those that have listened to the podcast, I think I've shared little bits. She just doesn't approve of bodybuilding. Women with muscles are disgusting. So the thought of being stood there in what I consider the dress, open to her critique, and it's not just verbal, it's facial expressions, raising of an eyebrow, noises, sucking on teeth, that sort of stuff. So that's putting me on edge anyway. But there's also then the meal afterwards. We're going to go and get some food, and it's I struggle in off season to enjoy food out anyway because I'm so full all the time. Yeah, I'm doing it to tick a box with her. So it's likely that she might not comment because I might not actually eat very much. But if I do sort of have a full meal, it will be like, don't you think you're big enough? I don't want you to get any bigger. Oh, you gonna eat all of that? Should you be eating that? Oh, that's very again, this obsession with fat and sugar content that my mum's in her 70s, so it's that generation. Fat is bad, sugar is bad. It's not, we know it's not that case, it's moderation, isn't it? And I bet she'll be sat there thinking several glasses of wine over lunch. But yeah, I'm the one making unhealthy choices. And there's always a lot of, but I worry about you.
Mm, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do feel like there's and this is going to depend on, your relationship with your partners, sorry, parents. It's like I used to just feel almost like it was sort of condescending and almost judgmental, even though and we're going to be different with our upbringings, but I just used to think I just want to eat a meal. Like, why does there need? I would never comment on your food, and it's sort of like
yeah,
and bodybuilders are going to face this, right? And it then over the years I now literally will I don't want to go for this populated meal with everyone that came to watch me. I just say thank
yeah,
you and I go do my own thing because I just don't want it, like, especially as well, right? We've spoken about this before. You are pretty knackered, like,
yeah.
the socializing vibe. Again, we think often that we're going to have a post-show meal and the next day we're going to wake up restored. Sleep is going to be fine. We're going to be
Gonna be
absolutely.
back to normal.
It ain't the case, guys. And
No,
again, we can override that psychologically. So we can tell ourselves we feel good, we feel good, we feel good. But you have to be, I believe, very careful with what you're planning after your show because we can absolutely, again, get in this mindset of, well, the season will be done, so I'll be fine. And then it gets to the reality of you're meeting up with several different people over the weekends and all of this stuff. I personally just want to have some weekends to myself, if possible.
yeah, yeah. It's I've definitely succumbed to this in the past where you're in prep, the end is in sight, your last show date is looming, and you start to, it's almost the guilt of where you've not been present with those friends or family for the duration of the prep that you feel that you have to get something in the diary arranged for post show. But it is then really easy to overcommit.
Yeah.
And I've done it in preps as well, more with work commitment stuff, where it's like, yes, I'll do this, yes, I'll do that. And it comes to the actual weekend and you're fucked. Like we've said so many times before, it doesn't just wash off because calories have increased by X amount. You're still going to be feeling that. And this is something I'm having, I don't know about yourself with the end of the season, but with clients, it's like reminding them that they are going to feel it it's going to hit different for a few weeks. The fatigue needs to come off, the body fat needs to go on. Yeah, muscles might be feeling full and you might be feeling strong because the food's gone up, but your tendons and ligaments aren't where they need to be for pushing mass loads. Sleep's still probably a bit foobarred, so recovery's still going to be meh. And you're in a hole with recovery from the last X amount of weeks from cardio steps training. Ugh. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. I had actually a conversation with a lady the other day who did a prep and she's decided to never go back to stage again because she's potentially looking at children in the future, in the near future, and she didn't have a period for 10 months after the prep. So again, a very good example of that took 10 months for her as an individual. I don't know what she was doing, etc. However, it's a sign that her hormones took longer than she, thought it would. And again, it's like you think that these things are going to come back straight away, but you don't know until you do the prep. And this is where the experience comes in. And we actually put this on our blackboard about, until you reach depths, until you reach a reverse out, until you get to these periods of time, how do you know? You can say, "Oh, I've got the work ethic, I'll do the prep." In the reverse
Yeah.
out, you can say, "Oh, we can go out for meals, we can do all these things." But sometimes these things go in the opposite direction. So it's like you get to post prep. Sometimes, guys, not everyone overeats in this period of time. Some people find it hard to accept food as they reverse out, right? I'm sure you've had clients with it as well. It's like it's not
Yeah.
it's not with the thing, is it?
There's accepting the food, and then that's the sort of mental side of it. But then there's also the physiological side of it where, you know, 20-week prep, your stomach will have shrunk. So that 2,500 calories that you were eating without an issue at the beginning of prep as calories were coming down, as your calories then get boosted up to that, and you're like, fuck, I've got to eat all this food. I personally really struggle with when my stomach is overly full. I get a lot of like regurgitation, which is not fun. Probably should get that looked into, but GPs, fuck that. Um, but I will avoid getting to that point because I don't like how it feels and I don't get and palpitations like we were talking about at the beginning. So it's a dual game. It's the mental adjustment to seeing the shreds disappearing, but it's also the physiological adjustment to the extra food and you know not only stomach size but down regulation of peristalsis, so things will be moving more sluggishly initially through the digestive tract, and then you're wondering why you can't go to the toilet. It's
The toilet
kind
thing.
of all there.
Yeah, it can go on for ages. Again, like the this cycle coming back, the period coming back, digestion coming back, sleep coming back. Like, when I have taken it further in preps, digestion has been whacked for months. Like this
Yeah.
isn't just like a week. And you know what it's like with digestion though, if you're not going regularly, like it does get to the point sometimes where you just feel like you don't want to eat 'cause you almost feel like you're just putting food on top of food and it's horrible.
I don't want to eat. I don't want to train. I don't want to walk. I don't want to sit. I don't want to do any. It's such an unusual off kilter feeling. There's no one specific thing that I can go. I'm constipated. I feel like this. It eats into so many different other avenues as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, you can have it rev up. Oh my God. Do I share that this is a massive TMI? To go with TMI about the toilet.
You share your TMI, and I'll share my near TMI from yesterday.
Well, I actually feel a level of safety with it being you because you've spoken about freedom, wheeze, and poos before.
Yep.
So after the mini cuts home,
There weren't toilets forever.
well,
People have always shit in the woods.
this is the thing, right? So it was like, I think it was day 3 or 4 on the Versat. So I actually again trying to lead by example and not just hang out in a deficit. I was like, nope, I'm going to put quite a big bump of food in. I was on quite low calorie, so put 800 calories in per day, which didn't take me that high because it was obviously quite low.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you probably still sub 2,000 calories, weren't you?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like well, and then so day 3 or day 4, I'm out for a walk and I had been to the toilet in the morning and digestion has come back quick. Obviously, it's a 4 week mini cut, so shorter space of time. So I'm walking along and I'm like, oh God, oh God, I need to go to the like, as in I need to go to the toilet. So I'm like,
Like now.
yeah, so I'm like 25 minutes from home, and there's literally there's nothing, and then
And
I was
you
like,
don't live in a rural area, do you?
no. So I'm like, okay, well, there is an alleyway up there. And I was like, I literally don't have a choice right now. Like
And you're doing the shuffle, you know, the one where your arms end up nearer your sides and you're clenching your bum cheeks together, and you're like, you don't want to move too big a movement because if you unclench those butt cheeks, punami.
I was like, and I was just like, I'm gonna have to do it. Like I literally don't have a choice here. Like
Yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah. Well, mine's not quite as bad as that, but it leads into the whole off-season thing. I went for a Thai massage last night, and I was particularly off-seasony as I'm lying on the table. First off, both nostrils block, mouth breathing, but they block so badly that I am dripping snot onto the pillow, which is underneath the head hole. So I know when she flips me over, I'm just going to be lying my head in my own snot. So that was fun. Where I'm lying like this, and I trained delts yesterday, it's so sore across here as she's leaning on my traps. It's like stretching my delts and my pecs more, making it more uncomfortable. So now I'm tensing my traps every time she's trying to release them. I was like fucking granite last night. She literally elbows, feet, everything. She couldn't get my traps to release. And it was just the position I was lying in. So she's then flipped me over. And I've spent most of the time I was lying on my front thinking, I really need to fart, but I can't because I'm arse up. So she's flipped me around and she started doing my legs, but she's got one leg kind of at a right angle doing my adductors. So I was like, well, I can't fart now. And now my nose is still blocked, but the snot is now running down the back of my throat. But my mouth is so dry I can't swallow from where I've been mouth breathing on my face. I've started to need a wee, and now my acid reflux is also kicking up. I still need to fart. And she's gone to like do the legs crossover stretch QL out one, you know, where you're like,
Yeah.
eh, like this. Yeah. She's gone to do that one. And this is where I felt really big because she's tiny. She's a tiny toy lady and she does bloody well, to be fair. Like, yeah, maneuvering me. But I'm just where I'm all covered in oil, I'm just slipping. Every time she tries to get some sort of wedge my foot behind my knee, it just slips against my knee. And every time it's slipping, I know that fart is coming closer and closer. But now it feels more than just a fart. And I'm thinking, oh God, I've got white pants on too. It's just, yeah.
Because the thing is,
And
when
now
it's like,
and then she started doing some jaw-like stuff. So she's got my mouth closed. I can't breathe through my nose, and now I can't breathe through my mouth because she's holding it like this. I get really panicked if I feel like I can't breathe. I mean, most people do. Most people do. But it's like I'm lying on my back. I can't clear my throat. I can't breathe. And I'm trying to stay calm and I'm trying to relax. It was nothing against her. It was just, I don't know. It was just too fucking heavy now, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's even like when we have massages, if it's Thai massage, often the place that I use, it's quite far away, so it's not all the time. But she does like an hour and a half, and I even have to sort of time my fluid around it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I've got it. Off season's not as bad as prep
Yeah.
because obviously you're drinking a lot more in prep. Um, but yeah, literally, I'll pee before I go in. As even if I'll normally stop to get cash out, pee at the services, which is literally only 5 minutes from the car park, which is a 2 minute walk to the Thai place, and then I'll still pee again just in case. And it's the worst is if I go straight after training because I've been drinking. It's getting hot now. Sorry, Ray, got to turn the heater off.
I feel like as well, you think that
Huh?
I feel like you sort of think, oh, it'll be all right, but like you say, when you've been training and things like that, you don't clock maybe how much you've had, and then it gets to the massage, and you're like, oh God, all I can think about is needing a piss. Like you can't think about anything else.
I actually since prep 2024 and the pelvic floor stuff that I did around that, I've actually sort of tried a little bit of bladder training during this year's prep
Okay.
to try and get rid of that having to pee every 20 minutes. And it did work to an extent. It's like just sort of switching your mind off and your bladder and your sort of urinary sphincter get a bit more adapt to holding it. But it's still because you can play into it in your head. It's that, oh, I need a bit of a wee. Oh, now I really need a wee. But oh, I could actually piss myself. But if you actually like, no, it's fine, it's fine. I
That
was going to ask the alleyway, was it? Well, no, because then you would have gone into the shop. I just saw something on Instagram about the association with certain places and needing the toilet.
oh
Like, I don't know if it's a thing going, like, if you go to a supermarket and every time you go in, you need the toilet, it's because your body's kind of found that that's a safe place and it recognizes that it's a safe place. So we like to go in safe places. So
yeah.
if you have a particular place that whenever you go into it, it's like, fuck, I need the toilet now. It's
Mm.
probably because your body's then, I know it's Instagram. I could be talking shit, to be fair.
Well, actually, this morning we went for a walk and I came out of, so I went for a wee, I always have a coffee before I leave. Went for a wee in Sainsbury's and then we were like, oh, we popped to Lidl as well. You know, it's like when we got to get multiple stuff. And as soon as I went outside of Sainsbury's, I was like, I need another wee, but I always go for a wee in Lidl.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
like
those,
show day
huh?
as well. Show day when you tell yourself you need a wee.
Yeah. You just fucking hope. I wish it worked the same for bowel movements on show day.
If you get one.
Yeah. Wow. Not having jam for a whole prep and then having jam on show day does it. And pineapple.
Yeah,
But
because
not when you want it to happen. Not when you want it to happen.
yeah, that's the thing. The thing is with, around shows and after the show, and as you go through your reverse out, it's quite hard because you really don't know what to expect sometimes. Like it can be so random depending on the prep, what food you're having, etc. This actually makes me think about the belief system around, I mentioned obviously you look at food porn and stuff like that. I believe over time you realize that you can start to hyperfixate on certain foods, food smells, like things in prep. When you actually get to it, a lot of the time I find I don't really know what I want. Like I'm like, mm,
Yeah, yeah. It's especially competing in America or Canada, and there's all these different foods that we don't get over here. I remember going into the Walmart a couple of days before the Olympia, and it's just fucking what it reminds me of is Toys R Us. A Walmart is like adults' Toys R Us, but instead of toys stacked floor to ceiling, it's food and whatever else crap. I mean, you can buy a ride on lawnmower and a hot tub and a barbecue and tools and crochet equipment all in the same shop. It's fucking mental. But it was this overstimulation of like stuff just hitting my eyeballs and kind of I ended up getting back to the Airbnb and I was like, what do I want post show? And I just wrote a list and gave it to Dan and I was like, I can't deal with that. Can you do it? And it was just stuff like bagels, eggs, avocado, salmon, because there's also with especially America and their different food regulations. But I think they've banned it now. But there was Red 140, a certain type of food dye that we don't have over here. It's illegal. I think it's Red 140. It's something. It was a red food coloring anyway, and yeah, I think that can cause some digestive upset as well as some similar sort of
yeah,
palpitation-y type things. Avoid, avoid, avoid.
yeah. I also as well, that reminds me of when I competed in Mexico, I didn't know what to have because it was like street food. And I was like, I don't think I want to eat any of this. And it just, yeah.
And Mexican as well. When your digestion is sensitive, that spice in those beans. Ooh,
See, yeah,
oh,
I'm the same with you, right? Matt had this thing the other day from Destination. It was going out of date, so it was like pilau rice, curried chicken or something, and like some seasoning in that. I was like, it looks delicious, but I smelt it and I was like, my GI will not like that. And
yeah,
it's actually like now I'll just go again, another lesson that you are allowed to talk about food if you're a bodybuilder. So I can say to Matt
yeah,
or my stepdad or my mum or whatever, I wouldn't have that myself. Is it nice? Like it looks really good. I can appreciate that would be a nice palate experience.
yeah.
You can talk about it, guys. Like you are still a human. We forget that.
I'm really odd. I don't really. Dan. could talk for days about food, no matter what the phase. Like even at this point in off season, he'll still be like, "Oh, I could really eat this, or I could really," and I'm just like, "Ooh, ooh." I'm at the stage now where I was actually before we recorded last meal toast and jam, so I'm there like slathering my jam on as thick as the sourdough, and Dan's cooking. I think it was chicken rice and Mediterranean vegetables, but the smell of the Mediterranean veg
Yeah.
before I was knowing I was about to eat something so sweet. It just what. But
Yeah.
then on the flip side, when I'm in prep, I know that I'm preppy because foods that he eats that I can't stand the smell of, I actually like the smell of in prep.
Yeah, it's
It's
really,
weird.
it is
I
really,
wouldn't eat it. Even in prep, I wouldn't want to eat it, but it smells good.
yeah, yeah. It's funny with the smells.
I'm wondering, like, obviously, with you being bikini, when you're like deep in off season, proportionately, do you have the similar sort of off seasony feels at the body weights you get to that I because it's proportionate to what you're used to and what your frame's used to and what your genetic sort of potential or predisposition is. I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering if you get any of the off season fun, the constant block sinuses, the lower back pumps, the feet hurting, leg DOMs just from walking normally because you're heavier than you're used to being.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I hung out with large male bodybuilders and they all had the lower back pumps. We were walking up a hill and I was like, what are they talking about? Like, I was like, I don't know what this means, lower back pumps. And now I obviously know. I definitely, the earlier on when I first started off seasons, I believe this was probably quite an emotional attachment to not being comfortable having more body fat. So
Hmm.
I never liked off season for that reason. I always felt, I would call myself internally, I'd be like, you're really fat. I'd feel really lazy. And I feel like I probably then emotionally attached myself to, I don't want to eat all this food. And I'd feel like I was pushing food in, even though I had the capacity to do it. So I think it was like a body image, bit of a skew.
Yeah.
But I do actually have a very good capacity for food, and I think that's a genetically based thing. Like I
Hollow
can.
legs.
Yeah, I can eat as much as Matt, which is people don't believe me. You'd have to see. But I'm not actually at a point where I'd want to do that. Like I'm just
No, no. I
it,
suppose you don't. Do you need to do that
no,
within bikini? No.
no. I don't feel like I do. I actually a really good thing that you said to me in a voice note the other day that I know I've repeated back, but it's stuck in my head about. So we were talking about cardio and if we were to do cardio in an off season, and you said you're not still doing cardio, are you? Because if you are, you're a fucking nutter. And I I correlated this with a conversation I actually had with Matt. He said, you're like this. He was like, you've got to remember that you're not the skinny bikini girl that was coached to oblivion of, having to
Yeah,
go to these wild places from calories, expenditure, etc. That's not you anymore. So now I'm self-coaching. Obviously, I need to be mindful of this to not be in that body and that narrative.
yeah,
So combining what you said about like cardio does take away from training performance if you're going to really try and capitalize on an off season. And when you said it the way
yeah.
you did, I was like, again, an emotional attachment to cardio, which I need to work on. And I haven't done any cardio, and I'm like, I don't actually want it. And my weight training sessions right now, even though it's early on, if I was to think about going on that stepper for 20 minutes, I know it will take away from my weight training. I know it will.
Yeah.
Absolutely will, hands down.
I've been there. I was there when Dan and I met in 2022, and my the way I justified what was an emotional attachment was, oh, I like, I'm an older body. I like to do a bit of cardio before I start my strength session. And it was only because he was there watching me that I'd cap it to 10, 15 minutes. Otherwise, it would have been like 20, 25 minutes. And it's all this gradual sort of learning and evolution of your mindset towards bodybuilding. And something that I would be interested for you to try next time you diet is to do a diet but just off calorie reduction without any cardio, just your calories and steps. Next time you do a tidy up, just try it, see what happens. Because I think it's something I'm trying with one of my clients at the moment because she's injured, so she can't do cardio. When Dan and I did our tidy up, my tidy up, after sort of around Turkey and after Turkey, I said to him, I was like, I'm not doing any cardio. I didn't have the time. That was the only thing. With work, I didn't have the time. There was a lot going on with eval, prep clients, all that sort of stuff. But it's also, I've spoken about it before, that ability to flip a switch. And I'm going to be interrupted by the Royal Mail lady in a minute. And because I sit at a desk by the window, they all see me, so they expect me to come and answer the door. So I'm going to take you with me to
We're going to get a
answer the
delivery
Royal
of.
Mail lady. Oh,
It's it's nothing to do with cardio, guys.
thank you. Cheers. Thanks. The dogs go mental. There you go.
Oh, we've got some quite
That's
big.
fun.
What is this?
Um, so I think once Dan, something from Trained by JP,
Oh,
says return address Trained by JP Clothing. Then I've got some new vapes. This is
oh,
like unboxing, isn't it? And then looking at the packaging on this, yeah, that's for eval. Sorry, that was my forehead then, wasn't it? That was a glamorous angle. That's lots of butterfly needles so I can stabby people. So yeah, that was our Royal Mail delivery. Nothing particularly exciting. Would have been good if I'd got an engineered delivery, wouldn't it? That would have been a shameless plug.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do, yeah. I do think there's absolutely this. The emotional attachment thing is, I believe, something that you convince yourself for so long that you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, I'm going to do cardio for fitness. I'm going to do it for the.
Oh, yeah, I'm here still. It's all right. Cardio for fitness.
I feel like you can gain self-awareness to this happening, right? Like we both have. So it's like, well, actually, if I'm honest, like, and I can relate to you that if someone's there at the gym with me, I'd taper it down. If I'm at the gym on my own, I would have done double or triple the amount of time because, and this is what I've learned to realize is I was coached like that for so long. Like it would probably be weird if I didn't have a level of attachment to that being a good thing to do. Now, that's okay, but I need to then action it, you know?
I think I think that plays a part in it, but I also think it's bigger than that, and it's probably part of the reason why maybe subconsciously your coach had you doing that.
Mm.
Because for years it was always the way to stay skinny was to do cardio. You know, we joke about cardio bunnies in the gym, but it's come from somewhere. And again, it's that kind of pressure as female gendered to it goes along with the eating. Don't eat too much. Make sure you keep yourself at a certain body shape. You have to do cardio to do that. And this is, again, going back to 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. It's probably, I'm trying to think when This Girl Can. I don't know if you remember This Girl Can. It was the first sort of thing I really saw on Instagram that was more focused around what you can do as a female rather than what you should do as a female. What are you actually achieving within the fitness industry? So it's like rugby players, football players, women that were trying to do a couch to 5K, all that sort of stuff. And it was basically a big Instagram page campaign that it's not about being this size zero twiglet that can barely lift a fork to their mouth. Being female is so much more than that. So I think there is that, like, it's still quite a recent shift. Although as bodybuilders, we've known it for a long time that resistance training is what we need to do to build muscle. And from that, you get the other health benefits, cardiovascular, bone health, that sort of thing. But yeah, it was very much like, I'm just thinking back to my childhood. It was go for a run, need to be a certain size, need to be a certain size. Oh, you're getting a bit too, oh, those jeans are getting a bit tight. I just I just think it's shit that we have to endure all these criticisms.
Yeah, I
Now,
do.
you can't fucking win because then you get a little bit too scared. Oh, you've lost a little bit too much weight. This is constant assessment of female aesthetics
Yeah, yeah.
to this ever shifting baseline of what we should be.
I believe as well what we can tie this into potentially is, obviously there's marketing, there's social media, all of these things, is that for females that are maybe single or they're quite invested in what their partner thinks of how they look. Obviously, you and I are quite independent in that regard. Like I look how I look, and Matt likes how I look. Like it doesn't drive me. I want to look good for me and him, but it's not like I'm thinking, oh, what's Matt thinking? Like if I'm an off season or prep or whatever. But I've spoke to multiple people and I've spoke to multiple males and they actually prefer females with a little bit of body fat on them. Now
Yeah.
I think from these things you're talking about that we're led to believe that guys would want us like dick and skin lean and fucking walking around pill, but it's not the case. Like from a sexual attraction standpoint as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, I don't know. Some of some of it's like actually the standards that other females are putting out there that we then have to conform to. It's almost toxic femininity to an extent.
Mm.
It's like, look at me with my face filler and my arms that are as thin as my wrist, and the thigh gap seems to be making a return. It's fucking sad.
It is
Fucking
really
sad.
upsetting, and also, a bit of context for people listening as well. Something because when you said sad, it made me think of this. I often say to Matt, I feel quite saddened by there are quite a few people that I know in the space that will constantly talk shit about themselves in off season to other females about like they'll put a post on Instagram saying you're only going to see me in oversized tees now because I've got body fat. And then they'll be saying it in the gym. Like this is multiple people, Mana. It really upsets me because I hear them talk to multiple other females about I'm fat now. They're absolutely not fat, right? Like they're just
Yeah,
they're just starting out in like, first or second off season. They are not fat. But then that female then has a skewed perception of, but I'm a bit bigger than her. Okay, so I'm
yeah,
and I just think this is what I think, and probably similar to you. I think imagine living in that person's head when they are absolutely not fat. They're a competitive bodybuilder. They look great. They're gaining, etc. They must be at war in here, you know?
mm, yeah. And I think, some of it, I've almost caught myself and checked myself as you've been talking because I am one of those. I will say, example last night, the Thai lady, she was like, "Oh, are you competing soon?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm in off. I'm not." And it's I can't just say to her I'm in off season because that won't resonate. It's like, no, I'm fatter at the moment. I'm growing, and it's like I'm not fat. I'm fatter than I would be if I were to just rock around at a chosen body weight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, if I was not bodybuilding, I wouldn't be this weight. But I don't know, body composition wise, I'd probably be quite similar fat distribution, just less muscle mass.
Yeah.
So and I say it as well. So, like, my lash technician asked me, and I'm really checking myself on that one because she is a little bit larger. And there's me going, oh, yeah, I'm fat at the moment. I'm not. And yeah, it's maybe something I personally need to adjust in what I say because if one person says it, another person says it, it's Chinese, not Chinese whispers. What it's like spreads, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and the reason I can say it's sad is because I used to do it.
Yeah,
I absolutely used to do it, and when I say sad, like you were framing it, with certain things that we think about ourselves, it saddens my heart because I know what that's like. Now, I think and I believe from our talks and knowing you very well, we're probably being quite factual about it. So it's like I'm fatter now, but also.
yeah,
I think that, and you've just brought it into my mind. This is why I love these conversations. Is that I used to think like a massage therapist is a great example. So if they see your body every week, every 2 weeks, whatever, I used to think they're going to think I've let it all go because they've seen. So I'm going, I'm doing the growing, and they're Thai, and they're thinking, what the hell are you talking about? But I'm trying to validate it in my own mind that I'm still a bodybuilder guy. Like I'm still.
yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm this humongous person. I'm like, I'm literally 4 weeks past the prep. Like, I'm not that big. But I'm thinking they're thinking, well, she's eating loads of food. She's let it all go. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I used to think that. I used to think that, but then the shift of I think it was the off season where I took a year out, and I did get softer than I would have liked to. Body fat was higher than, but I think also I needed to go there to be able to to be strong and be able to build the muscle.
To
Can't get
be
my
the strong,
words out.
that's our new
To be the
saying.
strong,
Be
to be
the
the strong. Um, I completely that's completely made me lose my train of thought. Oh, I
for
can't
being
speak.
soft, being
I used to beat myself up about it a bit more and the let myself go kind of thing. But now I know what that off season. That's there we go. I've caught myself up. Sorry. Now I know that's kind of what I have to do to progress. I don't. I'm not as harsh in my own head about it. I don't beat myself up. I'm chasing that scale weight. I want more scale weight, but that doesn't mean that the other people I'm saying things to in a room aren't conflicted in their own head. And that's, I know we can't screen ourselves in everything we say for the comfortability of others, but picking the terminology we use to describe something to a non-bodybuilder or even another bodybuilder, we don't mean fat ultimately, do we?
no, no, no.
It's a softer look, a more body fat look. And it's again, I don't like using the term body fat because it's
Yeah,
covered in so many negative connotations, but it's not. Body fat is an actuality. Being fat is subjective.
yeah, yeah.
I actually have body fat. I have more body fat, which is partly why I'm bigger at the moment. I'm not fat. There's a difference.
Yeah, it is. I feel like this is where I feel that like when it's like sort of influencers that influence young females just getting into the sport and they're literally constantly in there, the fat shaming and the body shaming and that ripple effect, especially in a hive environment like, destination, you've got a lot of aspiring bodybuilders and stuff like that. And I think I I I hope that over time, these certain influencers and people will get to a point where they're like, I'm rocking off season. Again, I understand that takes time, and this is why we're talking about it today, right? We've stumbled on this was, this is a very authentic and organic conversation, but it is something that over time, I love rocking around with more body fat and more muscle because I want to gain, and that's part of bodybuilding. That's part of what we're trying to do for the next time we diet down. And I think that you've stumbled across something there as well, because I've spoken about this on previous pods. I think that a majority of us probably have to have X amount of, or at least one gnarly off season where we get softer or push up more than we really like to, because that's where I've made my most gains in previous off seasons, to be honest.
Yeah. I suppose I get uncomfortable every
I
off
do.
season.
Yeah.
That particular off season wasn't necessarily more uncomfortable to live in that skin,
Hmm.
but it's funny now because when Dan and I met, our off-season issues were very different. Like I'd maybe get a little bit of a lower back pump, but the biggest issue was a sports bra that didn't crush my ribs.
Absolutely.
Now I'm getting the stuff that he was having 3 years ago. I'm feeling it, the lower back pumps, the part of why I'm not sleeping great at the moment, other than the fact that Dan's snoring like a dilapidated train, sucking in curtains. It's just the weight. I'm a side sleeper. The weight of myself on my shoulders wakes me up. I wake up in pain in my shoulders. Um, Struggling. I can't cross my legs anymore. Struggling to put socks on.
Yeah.
That's fun. Lower back pumps, getting the washing up. Yeah, it's and still can't find sports bras that fit.
Yeah, I do. What you've just described there, we could absolutely attribute that to a lot of the males that I've got on the podcast that have pushed up quite a lot in off season. Yeah, yeah.
Well, we were talking about it because we have. I don't know when this is going to be released in comparison, but there's a podcast out there, either going to be out there or is out there with Jack Richardson. And part of the conversation was actually you get to a certain point and yeah, size for size, there is a difference. But when you're thinking about percentages of muscle for your frame, there comes a point where females and males are pretty much equal when we're talking comparing proportions.
Mm.
Like you can't say yes, Dan and Jack are physically they take up more space, but proportionately the amount of muscle mass I carry for a female has
Yeah.
got to be there. Uh, So the issues we face are very, very similar.
Mm.
There's more, we've got more in common as open bodybuilders than we don't. The only difference is really, well, compound amounts and the choices you might make.
Yeah.
And when it comes to show day, unless you're classic, well, we're talking men's open. Maybe some of the men's open do. I don't know. I know some classic do, but generally men don't have to fuck around with hair and makeup on show day. They just got to stand in the tent and
Yes.
then put the trunks on.
Yeah.
Like trying to explain that, it's like so the show doesn't start until 11, but your makeup's at 4:30. So enjoy peaking for that.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be on until 12, but your makeup's still at 4:30, and then your hair will do that at 6.
Yeah, it's ugh. As well, you don't realize until you're in it that like even in the show day, it just sprang to mind with like things that could come into the stressful scenarios of show day where when I don't know if you've had it, I've had it multiple times where it's obviously the bikini shifts, there's a lot of us, but I've my first few seasons, I'd think, but my makeup or hair was booked to X time and they're running behind, then I'd be thinking, but I'm not going to be able to get on stage on time. Like they're running behind and they're going, it's fine, we've got you. And I'm like, in my head is exploding.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was so M Pro 2023. We've turned up. My makeup, I think, was 7:30. My tan then was 8, 9 or something. No, it must have been earlier than that because the show started at 9 and we were the first ones on. Anyway, the timings are irrespective. But when I turned up at 7 a.m., the venue wasn't even open. I mean,
Oh,
it's Spain. I don't know what else I thought was going to happen. It's like they're so chilled back, they're horizontal. So, yeah, we're sat outside and I'm like, well, my makeup's already late. Then when I got upstairs, the original makeup artists had decided they weren't going to do it and they brought in some new ones who had started tanning all the or doing the makeup for all the bikini pros. But the bikini pros where you had women's physique, figure, wellness, and then bikini, and they were doing their makeup first. And they were tanning the figure girls. And I'm like, but they've still got hours before they're on. Like, seriously. And then it was this weird spray gun. That's something that I do really relish about women's bodybuilding is obviously bikini and wellness, certain amounts of scoring in NPC and IFBB is given to makeup, suit, presentation, well, presentations in all categories, but the aesthetics of the person's hair makeup are judged.
yeah.
Women's bodybuilding, they're not. So in the toilet, 5 minutes, bish bash bosh, did my makeup.
Yeah, I that's a bitter pill to swallow, I think, for definitely for me. I won't speak for other bikini competitors, but that's not my like I like as I said earlier, I like to have my makeup done, except I'm not one to spend like it literally takes me 8 or 10 minutes. Like it's just some bit of, powder and some eyebrows. But I used to find it really hard to understand that up to 50% of your mark in a physique-based sport for bikini was hair and makeup. And I always felt for years and years and years that it just didn't seem fair because I didn't have enough muscle to be part of the other categories. Bikini was my chosen category, but up to 50% was scoring my hair and makeup, and I felt I don't understand this. But we then have to mature as bodybuilders and go, but that's the criteria. So you
Yeah.
either do that
Yeah.
or you don't. Like it's
You're not going to change the criteria of a category just because you don't agree with it. I mean, personally, I think it's a physique competition. It's not a pageant.
yeah,
If you want to make it like a pageant, make it like a pageant.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's a physique contest. But that's bigger than both of us.
Yeah, I also feel like actually a good thing to talk about as well with criteria is again you can fight against it. I know one male in particular sticks out in my mind. This was like really early on in my bodybuilding career, and he was like, So he was doing physique, and obviously it's clean shave a lot of the
Yeah.
time, hair smart,
That's a
whatever.
that's a point. Is that a part of the criteria? Because I'm trying to think now of a men's physique competitor with a beard.
Yeah, so this was it was UK BFF days, so I don't know
Ah, okay.
for all the federations, but it was clear in the criteria, clean shaven. Now he decided I'm not going to do what they say. So he came second and he could have come first if he'd had a shave. And I was like, again, I understand you want to do what you want to do, you like a beard, whatever. However, it's the criteria, so you can't get pissed off about it, really.
But then you've also got the other aspect that, some men have beards because of a religious aspect. So that's discrimination if they're marked second because they have a, whether the criteria states it or not, that's still a discriminatory nature of the criteria
That's a good,
to
yeah.
say clean shaven. And then if religion states beard,
Yeah, I didn't even think of that because
uh,
I mean, he was mega pissed off. I believe he didn't ever compete again, but
oh,
yeah, yeah, he was just like, this is a load of shit. I mean, he's actually, I won't say his name, but he's actually quite famous now in the world of social media. I'll tell you after. But
mm,
he got really, really, really fucked off at the show. He was kicking off, da 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 da, and he got marked down on not being clean shaven because it had it, directly in the criteria
yeah,
needed to do that. And
wow.
he was like, I
But
don't think
then
you should be able to be you and da 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 da, which I understand. I understand.
because there's I know there are lots of female bodybuilders out there who do have shaved heads, but I'm thinking of a figure competitor, a figure pro, who's got complete buzz cut shave, and I wonder because I can't remember how much of that aspect is taken into consideration with figure, but I wonder if she gets marked down because how do you mark hair if it's not there?
Well, yeah, actually, me and Matt were watching the Kai Green documentary,
Yeah,
so we watched the new Phil Heath one, which was fucking incredible. I loved it. And then, understanding more about his journey, etc. Then
yeah, yeah.
it like, it does the natural, like, you might like this. And we were like,
Suggestion.
oh, yeah.
Was it was it the first Kai Green documentary or the newer one he's released?
Was it the first one, Matt?
I think that's the first one, or I'm getting confused with Pumping Iron.
Is the first one's him in his flat, in it?
I am right. There is a first one, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it must be a set because I remember the first one's like a lot of him in his flat and stuff where he's obviously come through. But they were actually talking about, so I hadn't had this full context, but he did multiple Olympias, obviously kept coming second or third to Phil Heath. And actually there was quite a few people that they interviewed on this series saying that, there was one year where it was like really a lot of people were like, he probably should have taken the win there. But they actually spoke about, is it because of his dreadlocks? Was it because he used to be, I don't know if we say sex worker or what, but there was obviously like a past
Yeah, yeah,
in the sex trade and stuff like that. And a lot of people were coming on this documentary saying that actually, there's a bigger picture to a lot of this type of stuff because he then went back to stage and won like four different Arnolds in a year. So, and that,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because like I wouldn't have thought. Ultimately, I would hate. I'm just sorry. I'm thinking on my feet as I'm going here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If not that I've ever done any sex work,
Yeah.
but I think we can all think back to our late teens, in our teens, early 20s, late 20s, to decisions we've made that actually we probably wouldn't make the same choice again if we were in that situation. But to then potentially have something taken away or deprived from you because of something you did a decade plus ago. And in his instance, I think it was just to make fucking ends meet. I mean, his story is, it's quite one of adversity. You listen to Phil Heath, and this is not detracting from the pain he must have felt when he was injured and couldn't continue his previous career. But you look at that and how devastating that was for him. And then you flip to Kai Green, who was basically institutionalized because he was an orphan
Homeless, yeah.
and like spent all those years in an institution for no other reason than being he'd not done anything. He was just an orphan. Then being homeless, the stripping, the possible sex work that went alongside that. It wasn't, oh, do you know what? There's OnlyFans. I'm going to choose to make my money doing that. It was, how the fuck am I going to make money? Oh, okay, that's an option.
Yeah, yeah. Because I believe, there was one example where he went somewhere for because he thought it was like an acting interview, and they were like, "You need to get your dick out," or like that's what he said, dick or cock or something. And he was like, "What do you mean?" Like they were like, "We need to see your," and he was like, "Huh?" But then he needed literally to make money to like for food, right, and to live. And
Yeah,
that, like you say, I mean, this documentary, I was just like, even a thought process, and there was multiple people on this documentary saying like the sort of sex work era or whatever we want to frame that as that he had to do because he was sort of backed up against the wall has come back to bite
yeah,
him in
or not.
regards. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then what was interesting because it made me think of the, obviously the Arnold's and the IFBB have sort of parted ways, as it were, because of the conundrum and what happened. Actually, I think it was 2 or 3 years he didn't go to stage, and then he went back to the Arnold's, won the Arnold's in like Brazil or something, another on, and he won like 3 or 4 Arnold's, and I was like, but he's never won the Olympia. But then he's gone to the
Yeah,
because that one year where it was between him and Phil, I mean,
yeah. I think because that was in the Phil Heath, or it was in, it kind of crosses over the both those
yeah,
documentaries, doesn't
yeah,
it? It's
that's
now
it.
making me want to go back and watch them again because it's a while since I've watched them.
It was really good. Like I really liked it. I feel like actually maybe a little summary for our talks today with, this being such an individual journey to you and what we've just touched on there is that, you know, in the example of those guys, absolutely we do have we do have will you be my oh my God. Oh my God. Matt. Oh, I can't. Oh, is it?
Can you just describe for those listening?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Can I take these off yet? Because I feel a little bit silly.
Yeah, I can't fucking go. Oh my God.
So, for those that are listening and not watching and haven't seen what just happened, before the podcast, I creatively did a few post-it notes
Oh
where I have asked Sarah to be my maid of honor when I get married, and she's now crying.
my
And she
God.
shouted, but Matt already knew it happened or was going to happen if he checked his DMs.
He's videoing me. He's videoing me. Oh my, oh my
I
God.
was like, I was like, do I wait until I see her in person? And then it was literally, I was stood in the kitchen before this episode, and I was like, oh, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it. And I was like, this would be quite a creative way. And I've been sat here trying to think when a good time to sneak them in. And I wanted it whilst you were talking. So you were kind of concentrating and engrossed in something.
I'm like, what is she going to ask me? Of course I will.
So it's you, Brittany, Wellness Pro, and my mate Vicky, who's got nothing to do with bodybuilding. So that's going to be fun.
You've chose a triple stack.
I
Oh,
have. And you're all maids of honor because I'm too old to have fucking bridesmaids.
you know what? I love that because again, we can be institutionalized by like you've got to have X amount of bridesmaids. You've got to have one maid of because there's like groomsmen, isn't there now?
Yeah,
Where you
yeah,
can,
yeah.
has Dan made his decisions?
I think so, but I can't remember if he's told everybody as yet. I know he knows who he's having, but I don't know if he's asked everybody. He's asked his best man, who's one of his old, well, they're really good friends, but he also coached him for a little while. So he's the best man. And then have you told your other grooms people about them being grooms people? Sarah.
Who's my groom?
Well, I
She
don't know if you wanted it out on the pod. We're still recording.
Oh, hey.
she just made me
I've
cry when
just
she
did
asked
that.
me.
Yeah, she is crying. Says
Can't
you.
even see. I can't see.
Yeah.
Dealing with,
Do they all know?
I think so.
But you have a habit of not telling people things. I don't even know if this is picking up on your end.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't hear.
Oh, this is a really interesting.
Policeman, so that's my
Can you hear now?
A little bit.
Where's Billy
Bradley.
Bradley? Yeah,
Riz,
I'm
there you
feeling
go.
it.
Riz, the engineer, Billy, the Stella, and Bradley, the bus.
Oh, I love
Also,
it.
Dennis. Bradley, Dennis. Bradley, the bus, Dennis.
We've got to do
Yeah,
a shout out to Riz because I met him for the first time at that little meetup.
Yeah,
He's a legend, isn't he?
he is.
Love
He
it.
is. And D.
he
Yeah,
can be a
yeah,
little bit
Deegan.
intense sometimes. Calm down.
Give me the headphone
Right.
back now. So is
Oh,
that a yes then?
yes, of course.
So you've got to, at some point during prep next year, you've got to come down to Suffolk and come with me for a dress fitting because my box is going to be lost. my brain box is going to have fallen off. So
What?
yeah, you can be
So
my minder.
will we all four of us do so, or will you see us all separately, or you don't know yet?
I don't know because Vicky lives down in Devon and she's got two kids and her husband's a Marine.
Oh,
So that's handy. Brittany is down in Bournemouth, so obviously another like quite far away. Excuse me, and you're up in Suffolk. So we'll see. We'll see.
yeah, yeah.
We'll see.
But keep it open because it's going to be 2027.
2027,
By
May, June time.
by the way, oh, what's that? I'm gonna have to look at it. So there was, I'm sure it's Faye. So a lady who listens, she would definitely be listening to this because she actually sent a very nice message to say that our sessions have really helped her as a female bodybuilder
Oh,
get through prep and but she opened up quite a lot about how it's really helped her. Um, she sort of felt quite isolated and listening to us feels like she's sort of part of our friendship group. So she said.
yeah, yeah.
He was like, I'm not sure I can wait 18 months to see Romana in her wedding dress. You know she's gonna look mint, make that shit look mint and good. I'm way too invested. What month will her wedding be going for? For a winter wedding, you could really go to town with that. And she started giving ideas. I was like, I think it's gonna be 2027.
I want. It's got to be kind of May, June time because then I've got time to diet a little bit beforehand, and then we can go on honeymoon and then carry on prep afterwards if I choose to compete. Plus, it then means if Dan chooses to compete, he can do it in the first half of the year, 2027, and do those shows without too much because we can't be on prep at the same time, not completely. So, yeah, and we want it kind of quite local to us because if we're busy schedules, trying to then plan what we want the venue to look like, to have to factor in a drive to see that venue or to do whatever we need to do, it's just too complicated. And also, the thought of getting married in winter in Suffolk is very bleak because it's very flat and very cold and very windy and very muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we
Mm.
want the dogs there. And if it's at all wet, muddy paws on wedding dress because Rogue will put her paws up. I
Yeah.
won't be able to. That's just how she greets me. So yeah,
And have you decided
but we've
before?
got to wait until we pay the tax man before we. Huh?
Have you decided the color? Because obviously peonies, but have you decided a color scheme and stuff like that, or is this going to be like an evolution?
So at the moment, I'm thinking burnt orange
Oh,
for
orange is
maid
my
of
favorite
honors.
color.
It matches my hair, and it's I just think it's a cool color. And we can get peonies dyed like because there'll be silk peonies. Get them dyed that color as well. And
Oh,
it's
cool.
if we choose the outside venue that we've been looking at, I think, where it's in a wooded area for the ceremony, burnt orange and the trees and everything, although it won't be autumn, it will be spring, but it will still it's those sorts of colours that I like. So, yeah.
Oh my God, this is exciting. I can't believe it. Oh my God. gonna have to steady my emotions. Oh my God. Ah, I didn't expect that. That was so, I'm so glad you did that on the pod. That is so cool.
It's like it kind of comes full circle. We met on the pods,
Yeah.
so I thought it was only. And
Yeah.
I also now challenge a guest to trump that, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt, yeah, I doubt anyone's going to be able to do that, guys. Oh my God. Oh my God.
How much fun you can have with post-it notes.
I could just see Will, you, me, and I was thinking, what's he going to say? You.
Did he see my DM beforehand?
I messaged him back, yeah.
Oh, he's messaged you back.
Because I haven't checked it. I literally did it right. You know, when I said 2 minutes, there was the FedEx man and there was all this other stuff, but I was also filming it quick for Matt.
Oh my God, guys, what an episode! I'm gonna
Indeed.
be a maid of
It's a
honor.
goodie, wasn't it? Yeah.
But I've never been a maid of honor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nor have I, to be fair. I've been bridesmaids, but I've not been a maid of honor.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God, I feel
Oh,
like I'm a real adult now.
apparently so am I, getting fucking married.
What the hell? Wild, wild, wild. Oh my God. Well, what do I even say? How do we sign this off? I'm an emotional wreck, guys.
Well, I need a wee, so you can either come with me for that or we can end.
I love it, guys. Remember, be true to the Freedom Wees and apparently Freedom Poos. Be true to yourself. And sometimes if you
And
can.
embrace your body shape, whatever phase you're in.
Yes, I love it. Well, thank you. And I'll speak.
No worries. Speak to you soon. Bye. Bye-bye.
Hey.